YouTube, 12 gauge guns here with another review. We're looking at the Model 1095 by High Point Firearms. This one is chambered in 10mm auto. Now this gun here does have a lot of aftermarket additions added on, and as we're going through the review, we'll get into those as we go. But let's start with what just kind of comes on the firearm basic. This price point's for around the $300 to $400 range I've seen now. You know, High Point doesn't have the greatest name when it comes to firearms. Their handguns are definitely not the greatest looking ones, I would say. But they really did nice with this carbine. It's got, they call it a full weatherproof outer finish on it. It's mostly polymer with around the receiver and stuff being a more kind of a metal finish. But all over the polymer on the gun is a nice hard stippling that just gives it kind of a cool feel, a cool look. Right around the groove where you would put your actual fingers, they included some little stippling here, which is nice. And they also included, this thing's kind of big, they included not a Picatinny rail, but a Weaver rail on the bottom, and also the top here that goes all the way down. And there used to be one here on the bottom, but we added this new barrel shroud here, and that had to come off when that came on. But I do like, you know, the addition of all the rails. We used to have a vertical foregrip on the front one here, and it was just nice to play around. We're thinking about getting an angled foregrip. This scope is an actual aftermarket scope, as well as the clip holders here are also aftermarket. When we got this, it was 2 clips that came with it, and also the clip holders, which was pretty cool. But the scope, it's not bad, I would say. It doesn't add any magnification. It's just a red dot. But it does have the option to go between red and green, but you can't change any of the reticle designs, which is, it's just kind of lacking. But it is pretty cool that it has this laser on top, which was just something, you know, it's pretty cool. I like to use it a lot and actually just fire from the hip at the range. It's just kind of fun to do. When using the scope, I will say one thing that I don't particularly care for is that it's just kind of rised up a good bit off of, you know, where the bullet's coming out of. So you just have to account for that when you're aiming. You know, if you want to go for a chest shot, you pretty much have to aim up at the head to just get on you know, on target with it. So that's just something to know. What else did High Point include in this firearm? They included the recoiling stock, which is actually pretty cool. Now, depending on which one of these, you know, they have these chambered in 45, 9mm, 10mm, all different kinds. The 10mm I would think is going to have the most kick, and even when we shoot it at the range, it doesn't, you know, actually engage the recoil dampening all that much, but when it does, it is pretty cool. You know, when they just added that in, you know, it's a nice little touch. It's rare that I haven't shot any other guns where I felt that before, so that's just something cool. They also added a rubber cheek pad here. I'm a little undecided how I feel about that. It can get a little sticky, I would say. Even now it feels a little sticky, you know, and when you put your face on it, it tends to grab. I'd give it like a 5 out of 10. You know, it's just average in my opinion. They could have done a little bit better. They also could have done better, in my opinion, with the capacity on the magazines. I mean, maybe it's because it's a 10mm round. You know, it's only holding 9 in the mag, so that's just something else. And then The mag is like feels like a kind of thin, thinner metal, but plastic on the bottom, which just kind of has not the greatest sound. It doesn't sound of great quality, I would say. But aside from that, the rest of the firearm, this thing is a tank. It's coming in at 7 pounds. It's a little bit on the heavier side. It's 32 inches overall length with a 17.5-inch barrel. So it's, I guess you could say it's more on the medium side of guns as far as length goes, but with weight, it can be a little heavy, but not the worst. I felt not as bad as, an AR-15 or whatnot, but maybe with a grip or just something different, it'll be more manageable. The sling here is also aftermarket. I don't really use this much. I just kind of try and get it out of the way for the most part. The trigger pull on the gun, I will say, does feel a little wonky. Like, it's not the greatest. And then right now I have the safety engaged. Let me unengage that for you guys. That's just kind of how it sounds. I can kind of show you guys how it feels. It's a plastic trigger, and then it's just kind of like a full design there. And, it just doesn't have the greatest feel when you're shooting it. Maybe an aftermarket trigger, something added, would feel a little better. It does lock open on the final round, which I think is pretty cool. I just like guns that do that. Something else I realized is that the safety can only be engaged when technically I think one is in the chamber. So that's just something else that I realized when I was playing around with the gun. So right there, technically one would be in the chamber. So that's the only time I can actually move that safety all the way up into the full position. So that's just something else. But yeah, aside from that, it being a high point, they don't have the greatest name right now, but I do think it is a pretty cool firearm. It's got a lot of aftermarket things that you can add on, a lot of, scopes, and you can add foregrips, you can add barrel shrouds, and the barrel under the barrel shroud here is actually a threaded barrel, so you can add other sorts of things. I think this is more for just a cosmetic look. It doesn't really offer any, advantage to the gun like a muzzle brake or a compensator would. But it's just cool to be able to add those things on, a $300 gun. So I like that they gave you all the different points of attachments and just the little bits of customization you can do with it. So I really do like this high point firearm, 10mm carbine. Like I said, it's not a bad one for $300 to $400. If you guys see it out there, I would say maybe to give it a shot, take it out, do a few shots with it, see what you think about it. High Point isn't making bad carbines, As far as their handguns, I can't say, but this one's pretty cool. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe on this video, and catch me next week for another one.